I know, I've got makeup on. It's because I just got interviewed for something, a TV thing on kleptomania, actually, which I've talked about in my blog and in my books and things like that. And I was really thrilled that I might have had the opportunity to talk about that and help people understand it can be a symptom of an eating disorder to do strange things like stealing, hoarding, and all of that stuff. But anyway, that's why I've got makeup on. The most stressful part of that whole interview was the cats, as you can probably imagine, because I had to lock them out of my office, and then the kitten was sat at the door screaming. So I had to go and put him in the far bathroom, so that he couldn't scream through the interview, which he probably did anyway. But that's why I look a bit different today. Look like I made an effort, don't I? I didn't, don't worry. Not for you anyway. Just kidding. All right, here's a question. Hi Tabitha, question for you regarding slowly coming back to work and life in general. So I have now been in recovery for 4 months. 2 of them I was hospitalised, but since I've come out of hospital and now graduated from school, I've put all my focus in recovery, which I know is very important, but I am starting to feel so restless. I'm following a meal plan, but since I have nothing to do, I just feel like I'm waiting around for every meal, and my thoughts only get stronger and it gets harder to eat. I feel like I have no purpose with the day, and I feel like my mental health is suffering. Therefore, I wanted to know your take on going back to life work. I want to have a break from my thoughts and meaning with the day. I also feel like it gets easier to eat when I have to use the energy. Here we go. But I am not sure if this is my eating disorder trying to keep me busy and distracted from my mental and physical hunger. Would you go back to work, of course still following a meal plan? I know that you don't like those, but anyway. Or would you wait and put your focus into recovery, even if mental health is suffering? If so, how can you tell when it's safe to go back to work? All right, well, the first thing I do have to address is you talk about you're on a meal plan and then you say that you spend all day waiting for the next meal. This is the reason I hate meal plans, because you can't eat without restriction, really. You can't be eating to full mental hunger. That sounds to me like you've got mental hunger and you're waiting until the meal plan says you're allowed to eat again. I mean, I could be wrong. I could have read that wrong. But from my perspective, that is the sort of thing that jumps out to me as actually this is the first and biggest problem that needs to be addressed. Because if you're not eating without restriction and you're just eating to a meal plan, then you won't be doing the neural rewiring that you need to do in order to fully recover, which sort of makes everything else that you've asked in your question there irrelevant. Because if you don't fully recover, then the shit's going to hit the fan, and your life, your job, and all of that's going to go down the pan anyway at some point, isn't it? So I do think that we need to have a little bit of a think about that and think about, well, is that actually mental hunger? Is me sitting around feeling frustrated because I feel like I'm waiting for the next meal? Is that mental hunger? And then have to think to yourself, well, if I was really eating without restriction, my day would probably feel a lot fuller because I'd be just eating all day, and I probably wouldn't feel so bored and frustrated because I'd actually be doing what deep down I really want to do, which is, to be honest, stuffing my face all day. So I'm just suggesting that you have a look at that part of things. All right, so what was the actual question? Should you go back to work and stuff like that? I don't know. I mean, it depends what your job is. It depends if you can eat without restriction whilst you're doing it. And I don't think you're eating without restriction yet anyway, not doing a job. So you said that you could take your meal plan with you to work, but I've got a problem with the meal plan because that's not eating without restriction, is it? And I'm going to just circle back to this. If you're not eating without restriction, what the fuck is the point? Because you're not doing the neural rewiring, and it means you're not going to fully recover, which means it's just a matter of time before you relapse properly. Sorry, didn't answer the question again, did I? I went on about meal plans. All right, so if you could convince me that you are actually eating without restriction, and say if that was out of the equation, if you were eating without restriction, would be my advice be that you go to work or not? My advice would probably be that if you can, my advice would be that you need to find what it is. Why are you feeling? Why is your mental health struggling? Is it because that unless you're working and feeling that you're doing something productive, that you don't feel that you have value? Well, that's an eating disorder thing again, isn't it? I've talked about that a lot in my books, the desire to always be productive. Why can't you be happy just actually enjoying yourself, enjoying some time off, watching shit TV, meeting up with friends, doing all of the things that most people work so that they can do? And you have this opportunity now where you're not working, you could just be really enjoying yourself. What is it about that feels difficult? I'm just asking. I know that I was exactly the same when I had an eating disorder. I didn't want to have unproductive time. And then I realized that that was something that was very important for me to address. It's like we've got to teach ourselves to be able to just chill the fuck out and just be happy being and not doing anything particularly driven and not doing anything particularly productive, but just chilling the fuck out. So I'm going to give you some really important advice. Get a kitten. Okay? Because it'll make you really happy and it will force you to just be and stay at home and eat, and it will give you something to entertain yourself with. I think if you can afford not to, if you can do it, then just wait about going back to work or doing anything or making any sort of big career decisions. Wait until you're more recovered. Wait until you know that you're eating without restriction. You've at least got that thing under your belt, so to speak. Probably not the right phrase, turn a phrase under your belt, is it? But you know what I mean. Wait until you've got that nailed. Wait until you can tell me that you're properly eating without restriction. Wait until you can tell me that you're really getting there with the neural rewiring. Wait until you can tell me that you're sorting your eating disorder out before you start doing things like adding stuff like going to work and things that are only really probably going to be stressors. And if you really, really need something to entertain you, like I said, get a kitten. Can't go wrong with that, can you?